If you are thinking of leaving the Apple ecosystem but think it's impossible to switch or leave and you're stuck worried about what you'll lose when switching away, then this video is just for you. Hi, my name is Pete. Hope you're doing well. Come for the tech and stay for the insanely bad Andre Jake references. Anyway, last year I had this niggling obsession with trying to move away from being a lifelong iPhone user with my iPhone, watch, Macs, and just everything else in between to an Android user. Because over the years and years of being an iPhone user, things have just felt a bit stale. So I started playing with Android phones, and right now I have tried 9 different Android phones recently, and I've kind of settled on the Google Pixel 6. Which isn't perfect by any means, but it is pretty good. Over those phones, I've learned how to pull away from some of the Apple ecosystem. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can also plan your exit from the ecosystem, along with some kind of caveats along the way, and some things that you just can't fix just yet. Full disclosure first, I'm just a regular guy who's been using Android on and off for around 6 months to a year or so. I'm still learning as I go along, so do let me know down below in the comments if there are better ways of what I've personally come across and what works for me. So first up, let's talk about a couple of quick wins before we dig into one of the big ones when switching to Android. So let's start with Photos. And this is a really simple one actually. Use Google Photos. I actually did this anyway, even when I just had my iPhone, as it was a really great way to just back up my videos and photos outside of this, Apple iCloud ecosystem. So if anything ever gets lost or hacked or deleted, I still had a copy somewhere else. So just install the app, enable backup, and then just wait probably a few days whilst all of your iCloud photos then get uploaded to Google. Now I'm actually due to make my 2022 version of the best apps to store your photos and your videos, whilst factoring how much storage you get for the price. If you want to see that one, then go find the subscribe button down below for that when it comes out. Next up, let's talk Airdrop, and let me introduce you to a very, very similarly named service called Snapdrop. Just visit snapdrop.net on any device and you now have Airdrop, but across, well, any device. It is really, really cool. For Android, you can install the Snapdrop app, and then just when you go to share something, you just tap Snapdrop, then tap on the device you want to drop your files to. It does work really, really well. I've not run into any issues at all with it, so that is a quick and really easy fix. Now let's talk about the big one, and that is definitely what she said. And the reason why most Apple users state as why they can never move away from the iPhone, and one I also struggle with, and that is iMessage.
But Pete, all my family and friends are on iMessage. It's so convenient. I don't want to be a green bubble.
And to that I say, a Gesundheit. Because what I actually found out after switching was that most people, even iPhone users, are already using other messaging apps. I'm sure if you checked your own phone, you're probably guilty as charged of having more than iMessage installed, Facebook Messenger, or WhatsApp, or Signal, or Telegram, or Snapchat, just all of them. For most people, it was just way more convenient to move them over to a more platform-independent messaging app. For me here in the UK, that has mostly been WhatsApp, which works kind of fine as long as you don't switch phones all the time, like some idiots do around here.
But Pete, WhatsApp isn't secure. They can read my messages. They can see my cat photos.
And if you're worried about that, then I'd recommend to look at Signal, which so far seems to come out as the most highly ranked and most secure cross-platform messaging app out there. So if you want to send those saucy pictures to your partner, then Signal is statistically a better place for it. Though, joking aside, please remember that if you do send any photos or videos via Signal or any other secure apps, the recipient can then still save them onto their phone and then do whatever they want with them. So stay safe out there. For those of you who are tied into the Apple iMessage ecosystem platform, then there is still hope. An app called Beeper launched early this year, and I was fortunate enough to be one of the first to use it. And when I say fortunate enough, I mean that I paid over $100 for an annual subscription. Yeah. But Beeper is genuinely a magical app which basically lets you send iMessages from your Android phone. And I actually made a video talking about that, which I'll link up here somewhere. But in summary, iMessages, not as big of a problem as I first thought. Kind of related to AirDrop, what about universal copy and paste between Mac and Android? Because whilst I might be ready to switch away from iPhone, I'm not yet ready to switch to Windows. Not yet. Maybe comment if you want me to try that out in real life. The best I've come across is an app called Clip Paste, which honestly isn't as seamless as Apple's built-in ecosystem of just simply copying anything on any device and then instantly being able to paste it on any other device. But it kind of gets halfway there. On Android, you copy something, text or media, then you open up the Clip Paste app, so it can then store what you've copied in the app. Then head over to your desktop where you can also now open up the app, click copy, and now you can paste it into wherever you want to paste it into. It's definitely not as clean. It's not an apples to apples version, but it is the best you can do with the technology we have right now. Siri is also one that some people get tied to, though after another recent video where I compared the voice assistants on this Pixel 6 Pro versus Siri on my iPhone 13 Pro, well, Google blows Siri out of water. Sorry, it just does. It also doesn't tie you into all of the Apple ecosystem, just like Apple's own HomePod speakers, which is a really nice big plus for me. If you have HomeKit devices, then you can use Google Home to replicate much of what Apple's HomeKit can do. Though I'll be honest, as I don't specifically use Google Home or Apple HomeKit, all I do is connect both of them to my Home Assistant system, which is my home automation system. And then it doesn't matter what device I use, but I can control stuff from around the house from whichever phone that I've got. But from my limited use so far, it is pretty like for like. Now we get to a couple of issues, because it is not all strawberries and perfume over here in the Google world. There are two key issues that I see when switching over to Android. First up is FaceTime, because I'm yet to come across anything as good as FaceTime for Android. And when I say for Android, I mean cross-platform, because what we're looking for here is a way for you to communicate with people no matter what platform they're on. FaceTime works great. WhatsApp video, Facebook video, and all of the other video apps out there, not great. Poor quality and reliability in my own experience. And whilst your own experience may be okay, mine just certainly hasn't been. Unlike iMessage, where others will typically already have another messaging app installed, they're not as likely to have a video calling app installed like Google Meet, which in all honesty does actually work really, really well. But just try explaining to your 80-year-old nan how to download, install, and use Google Meet when FaceTime has been designed to be so simple to use that's just like a few taps away. And the next issue is app development, because still, for some reason, I find apps tend to come out on iPhone before they hit Android. Now, given that Android has a pretty loose policy for letting people develop and allow people to install apps, that's actually a bit surprising to me, given that Android apparently has a 73% market share. But it's fairly obvious, and I would imagine that the reason for this is because Apple's current iPhone lineup is just 5 models, each of which have their own variants in sizes. Whereas, according to an old survey from OpenSignal back in 2015, Android could have over 25,000 unique Android devices. And chances are that from 6 years on, it's likely to be way, way more than that. Even within brands, there are just an insane number of devices and sub-devices that each brand has. They go on to show this even further when you look at how many different software versions typically in use by Apple and Android users, with Android users typically being much slower to upgrade or unable to upgrade due to lack of support. And also the screen sizes Android developers have to cater for compared to Apple being way higher due to the sheer number of devices. And so, whether it's the next Clubhouse or not, developers typically design for Apple first. It's a big market with plenty of users, and they make it easier for developers to create apps which work across all of their devices. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you aren't already. I post on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I'd really love if you went to watch one of these 2 videos next, as it really does help me out. And I'll see you sooner than you might think. Cheers, bye-bye.